Hello, my beautiful lashies and fellow listeners. Welcome to the Live, Love, and Lash podcast. And this is Catherine. I am your host. And today's episode, we are going to talk a little bit about mindset and having confidence versus courage. So, when I first started doing lashes, I had this much courage. I'm sorry, this much confidence. And for those of you just listening, that means zero. I had zero confidence in my abilities to do lashes, in my abilities to provide the service that I didn't feel confident in doing, and doing them correctly in the way that would flatter their faces most appropriately. So something that I have learned over the past years of doing lashes is that a lot of times you just need courage. You need to have that bravery and courage to just take that leap of faith and just do it. Take action, and the confidence will come. So let me give you an example. When I first started to learn lashes, I was an aesthetic student, and the quote unquote trainer was one of the other esthetician students. She had been doing lashes for I don't know how long exactly, and her course was literally we watched her sit down with her model, and she just started doing lashes and explained what she was doing. So she'd place the under eye pad, she'd place the other under eye pad, she'd place the tape, and then she would just start applying lashes. And this was in 2015, so almost 10 years ago. And she had been doing lashes already for so long, and I'm pretty sure that all she was doing was just classic lashes. They were thick, they were heavy, and for those of you who have been in the industry know that our lashes and our technology have come a long way. And for those of you newer lash artists, you might not know this, but we were applying thick beasts. They were like 0.20, 0.25, and they were just terrifying. They were super long. We were still practicing isolation and applying them individually, but there wasn't as much knowledge shared in the industry of how much weight, how much length you can safely use on an individual lash, depending on the person's lash health, as well as the person's lash themselves, whether they've got oily skin and oily lashes or dry skin and dry lashes. And so that just wasn't a thing. That wasn't discussed. Contraindications weren't discussed. Um, Diseases of the eyes weren't really discussed. I mean, we did talk briefly about blepharitis, we did talk briefly about pink eye, and we did talk briefly about allergies, but we didn't really go into what could cause them. We didn't really go into how to correct or suggest different treatments for them, as far as like if it were a condition that we can't treat or diagnose, then to send them to a optometrist or their prescribing doctor. And so it was just, let me teach you the process. This is how you apply lashes, and boom, go. So we watched her do a few lashes, do a few applications, and then one by one, each student took turns putting on a couple lashes. And I was the last person to go because I was like, I don't really want to do these. I'm never going to do lash extensions. The only reason I'm in aesthetic school was so that I could break up my day from doing all the deep tissue massages that I was doing. And so I just wanted to do facials and waxing. And then it became my turn. And in order for us to even have been able to do this quote unquote class, we actually shifted our lunch back by like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So by this time, my blood sugar was so low. I was shaky. I was nervous because everybody was now watching me, and I had just watched everybody go, and everybody was able to place a lash. And I could not place a single freaking lash. And I was so frustrated. I I looked up at the instructor, like the actual course instructor, and was like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do these. Do not book me any clients for this. And the place that I was working at the time actually didn't even offer lash extensions. So I felt like that was a safe decision for me to make. So I graduated SD school and I was still working at this medical spa. And about a year later, I left that spa and I ended up going to a different medical spa. And I became the like #1 lash artist there. It was just me and the owner doing treatments, and B, she was trying to shift away from doing treatments so that she could focus more on building the business rather than being in the business, which we will discuss that whole concept in another episode. But she wanted to shift away from doing different services so that she could free up her time to build the business instead. So I became the lash artist there at the spa, and I ended up actually really loving it. I got a little bit more training from the owner who had been doing lashes for a few years as well. And again, it was just this is how you do the application, this is how much glue you need, this is how you place it. And I got that down. I got isolation. I'm like the isolation queen. I got the placement down. That was like my jam. And I pretty much did natural sets and cat eye sets on everybody. And for those of you beginners, there's nothing wrong with that. You're learning how to just do the process of applying it. As you start to grow in the lash industry and you start to build your skills, you'll actually learn that there are so many different styles of lashes, from Kim K strip lashes, the angel set, Maddie, I love you. Then there's wet sets, there's anime sets, classic sets, wispy sets. I mean, the list goes on, and it's a trend that, people do different things depending on the weather. And it's kind of funny. As a beginner, I didn't know any of this, and many of you beginners may not know this, and that's okay. That's why if you listen to one of my previous episodes on continuing education, you'll understand why it's so important to start growing your skills as an artist and being more versatile to be able to offer more styles for your clients, to be more accurate in placement so that your mapping is more custom to their eye shape, face shape, and really accentuate those most beautiful features, because our clients are absolutely beautiful. Every single one of them. They don't need lashes, but we all know it's an addiction, and I know I'm definitely due for a fill. Don't judge me. Here, let me take my glasses off. Yep. Yeah, I need a fill. So going back to being a beginner, yeah, I had no confidence that I was doing this correctly, but the owner told me, oh yeah, you're doing a great job. So just having that validation was really important to me in knowing that I was doing it right, that the process was right. And with being in a spa, I had a specific protocol that I followed where I would do a lash bath, dry them. And back then we didn't have the electric fans. We just, hand dried it. And I was also taught that you have to wear gloves. Do not do anything else, because your hands could have bacteria on them. Your client could have bacteria on them. Heaven forbid your client has makeup on and you touch it to your face. But okay, that's a whole nother topic we'll get into in another episode. But this protocol was there for a reason. It was for me to be able to learn how to do the full process from beginning to end, including intake, and then including making sure that they book their fill appointment. And every single step of the way and every single client that I got, I continuously built on that confidence. And it was just that courage of starting and doing it that really got me that ball rolling towards continuing to educate myself on new styles, on going into volume, on teaching myself how to make handmade fans with .03s. So with that being said, I was never officially trained on doing fans. I was never officially trained on doing Russian volume. I was trained on classic lashes, and then I taught myself how to make fans using the pinch method. And I skipped 0.07 and 0.05 lashes and went straight to 0.03. Back then, they didn't make .02s, so I carried 0.20, 0.15, 0.12, 0.10, and 0.03 lashes. And at this time, I was using Lashbox LA and a company called Lash Stuff. Both are great brands. Lashbox LA, I think, is superior in the quality of products they offer, and I think that the science behind their products is just a little bit more tuned into lash anatomy and physiology and stuff like that, and the chemistry that goes into their liquid products as well. Um, don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. And Lash Stuff, again, they have a great company. When I first started doing lashes and wanted to get their kit, I actually took their course where they had a free training if you bought their kit. So I bought their kit, I did their free training, and it was great to have that extra knowledge. The training was online. It was all just refresher of what I had already learned in aesthetic school. So in aesthetic school, they do go over certain conditions like blepharitis and different eye conditions when you talk about tinting and waxing and stuff when you're doing like eyebrows and lash tinting. And there was a small portion of it that had to do with lash extensions as well. That was in the Milady textbook. It's Milady. And all of that information was reiterated in the online course that I took. And this was after I had left that job. And the reason that I left that job was because I was leaving almost every single day crying because I was being told that the quality of work that I was doing wasn't up to the expectations of the owner. She was expecting me to be able to learn these new protocols and new services and new certifications at a faster rate when I'm thinking, well, I don't have the client base. You don't have the client base for me to be able to continue to practice these new protocols and services to be able to grow at the rate that you're asking me to do. And so she was critiquing every single thing I did. She was also giving me work outside of my designated job title and contract. Like she was asking me to create advertisements for the business and like social media content graphics for, again, the business and for sales and different events that she wanted to host. And she didn't give specific direction. She just said, I want this, this, and this done. But she didn't give any specifications as to what she was looking for. So me and the other employee that were working on it, we actually both created multiple types for her to look at and approve or, make corrections and changes. And she wouldn't make any corrections or changes. She would just come up and look at it and be like, this is crap. This is crap. Why is it taking you so long to do this? It should only take this amount of time. Okay, well, when you're not being clear and communicating exactly what you're looking for, you can understand why we have created multiple things for you to look at to be able to guide us in more of the direction that you're looking for rather than just say, hey, do this. And she took zero feedback. It was all our fault. We were the ones that were wrong. And I would make like one very simple mistake or made one simple decision that wasn't necessarily what she expected. And she would fly off the handle and chastise me and chastise the front office. And there were a few times where I had to be like, no, I'm putting you in your place. You told us this, you asked for this, and this is what we gave you based on our interpretation of what you were asking for. And you getting upset at us is inappropriate. And one time she had made mention that she was considering rearranging the front so that it would be a little bit more of a cohesive flow from entering the door to greeting the receptionist to going back to sit on the couch in the waiting room. And she also had the Lash recliners up there as well. And there were 3 recliners and a like hutch for all of the Lash supplies. And I don't remember. Oh, and there was also displays for products. And she wanted it rearranged. So I took it upon myself to do the rearranging, which took all of 20 minutes. And at this point in time, I was a contractor. I was not being paid hourly. So I didn't feel like this was in, I didn't feel like this was a problem because I wasn't being paid for it, and B, I was trying to help her do something that she was looking for. Well, the next day she comes in and she is just livid, and she starts, excuse my language, bitching out the receptionist as if she had approved it and said, hey, go ahead and do this. And so I put her in her place. I was like, no, 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 you don't get to be mad at her. I was the one who decided to do this. She even warned me, hey, you should probably get the approval of the owner first. But I'm more of a do and ask for forgiveness later type than a ask for permission and possibly get rejected type. So I did it. I made her mad and I took the consequences, and it is what it is. But so all of that being said, it was just not a good environment for me to be in. And so I decided to give my 2 weeks notice. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have these 2 weeks to decide A, if I'm going to just go to a different spa, or B, if I'm going to open up my own space. And when I gave her my 2 week notice, she said, okay. And then I went into my session with a client and I came out and she said, okay, you're done. I cleared the rest of your schedule. You can leave. So she fired me. She fired me after I gave her my 2 week notice. And so I packed my things and I went home and I talked to my boyfriend at the time and I was like, so I just quit my job and I had given my 2 weeks and she let me go. And my emotions were a little heightened. I was angry, I was upset, I was a little sad, but I was also scared because I was like, well, I was hoping I'd have these 2 weeks to talk to you about it, decide what we're gonna do, what I'm gonna do, because at this time I was the only one working. He was going to school and I was supporting us, paying rent, paying utilities, paying for our food and for our dogs. And so I'm thinking, did I just screw us over and potentially cause us to lose our place? And all of the anxiety started to build up. And I feel very fortunate that he was very supportive in that decision because he saw me crying and feeling awful about everything that I was going through with this job. And so he said, well, it looks like you have 2 options. You can go find another job or you can go on your own. And after discussing it with him, we came to the decision that I'm just simply not meant to work for somebody else. I'm meant to create something and build something magical and beautiful for myself and for the people around me that get to benefit from that. And so I had the courage to start my own business. I had zero idea of what I was doing, what I was supposed to be doing. And there are so many business experts out there who will say, if you don't know what to do, just do. The rest will come. And it did. It did come. I started posting on my social media. Back then it was Facebook and Instagram. TikTok wasn't a thing. Pinterest was kind of a thing, but it was more for like DIY stuff and crafts and um, finding outfits, which I still use it for that. And so I would post. Initially, I said, so I've now opened up my own business and I am calling it, what I think when I started, I was just, I think I was just Catherine Michelle. I've changed the business name so many times. It was Catherine Michelle. It was Sea Beautiful Spa, which I still have that name and I do intend to use later down the line. For those of you listening, please don't steal my idea. It is for an actual spa that I would love to build and create and have a full team of providers. And then it became Live, Love, and Lash. And over the years, as I changed locations and changed the services that I offered and increased my prices many times. Oh my goodness. So when I first started on my own as a massage therapist, my hourly rate was $30. My hourly rate now is $120. It went from 30 to 50 to 75 to 90 to 120. So I've only had 5 price raises in the 10 plus years that I've been doing massage. And with lashes, I went off on my own in 2017 and my full sets were $75. And I was only doing classic. My full set of classics were $75. My fills, I think, were 30 or 35. And then when I slowly started learning how to do my own fans, I then added hybrid and volume. And at that point, I had different prices for classic, hybrid, and volume. And it wasn't until last year that I actually changed my pricing structure, which I did talk about in another episode, where it's all the same. Classic, hybrid, volume, mega volume, wispy, whatever style you want. It's all the same. My full set's $220 and my fills are $100. Most of the times my fills take about an hour and a half and my full sets take about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how much volume they're looking for and how many lashes they have. And I'm not really looking to speed up those times at all. I prefer quality over quantity. And that's one of the reasons why my prices are what they are. And that's because I now have the confidence that my skills are worth the prices that I'm charging. When I first started, I was so nervous to even charge $35 for an hour massage. I was looking at Massage Envy, which is where I started, and the membership rate, I think, was like $39, if I'm not mistaken. And my mom was a member, and she is unfortunately still a member, and I give her crap about it all the time. But they've increased their prices too. It went from 39 to like 49 to 59 to 69, which I now think it's 79 or 89 for a 50-minute massage, not even an hour massage. And I don't feel bad at all charging $120 for an hour massage. I do feel bad charging a travel fee because I do also do mobile services. And I do technically have a $25 travel fee, but I rarely actually charge it. And some of that is confidence, but also some of it is I would much rather maintain the clients that I have at the price that they're at than lose them because they're such good clients. And again, that goes into how I take care of my clients because I love my clients. I love how they take care of me. I love how we can have authentic conversations either during, before, or after a service. And they usually give me very nice tips. And nobody will ever, in at least in the countries that do tipping as a custom, nobody who receives a tip is going to be ungrateful for a nice tip. There are certain countries that actually don't do tipping, and that's a controversial topic that we'll get into at a later time. But so building the courage to do what we do. It took a lot in me, and it will take a lot in you to decide to do what's necessary to have the life that you dream of. You hear all the time of people saying, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this lifestyle, I want to be skinnier, I want to bulk up. But they don't do anything about it. They just dream about it. And then that creates anxiety and depression and regret. And I'm not about regret. I'm about action. I want to see what it is that you do to get towards your goals. And that's one of the reasons why I love this industry so much, because it's given me the courage to grow. It's given me the courage to increase my skills as an artist. It's also given me the courage to grow my skills in the sense of business and with relationships, how I show up for my clients, how I show up for my family and my friends. And in a lot of ways, it's because I became my own boss. Because if I was working for someone else, there's no growth in there. The only growth is, hey, I have to renew my license every 2 years. My massage license requires continuing education. So how am I going to grow in that way? My aesthetics license does not require continuing education, which again is a controversial topic that we'll get into at a later time. But it's there's no growth. The only growth that you can have is any feedback from your clients or from your employer. And all of the employers that I got were not giving me workable feedback. It was always just negative criticism and analyzing the things that I did wrong versus praising any of the positive good things that I did. And I'll give you an example. The first medical spa that I worked at, with the exception of the nurse injector who did Botox, Juvederm, all that stuff, plus she also became a laser technician. So she also did laser hair removal. With the exception of her, all of the other non-medical providers, I was the #1 booked provider there my entire time being an employee there. And I only made 50 cents more than the least booked person, which was kind of demoralizing. And it made me feel like I wasn't valued as a provider or as a human being. So that was one of the contributing factors to me becoming my own boss, was that I wanted to feel valued. I wanted to feel like I could grow in whatever direction that I wanted to grow in. So I learned new skills. I learned new protocols. I chose to take many different routes in building my business. So I was a doTERRA rep for quite a while. Yes, I peddled essential oils as a massage therapist. How cliche. I also made salves, which was, I actually really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun making those. And one of the students that I went to massage school with is actually the person who taught me how to make them. And we're still friends to this day. We don't really talk a whole lot because she still lives up in Flagstaff with her family, and I'm down here in Phoenix. But I still have that recipe and I still have that knowledge of being able to make those. And that was kind of my first introduction into product sales and having my own brand. So from then on, I started to develop my own take-home kits, which I used Prolong, and I still use Prolong. That might change in the future. I can't say for sure, but it's a great alternative for people who don't want to talk to a manufacturer and place the large orders. But it introduced me to having a brand and having to budget for product purchases and order purchases so that I could make the purchases that I was looking for. So again, that's an area in which I grew and learned new skills and traits in. And then I also learned how to do my own taxes as an independent contractor. And I knew nothing about sales tax. So IRS, please don't report me to the IRS for not charging people sales tax on my products. I do now, and that's what counts. That's what matters. So the way that I've done my taxes obviously has changed in the past, let's say 2017 is now, so 8 years, because the way that I've run my business is a lot different. And it also changed the percentage of taxes that I've changed based on what city I'm in. So that has also been an ongoing learning process. And for those of you who do have your own business, I highly suggest hiring yourself a CPA. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration of maybe working with TurboTax or QuickBooks. And it's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier. Yeah, it can be expensive to pay somebody to do your taxes, but in all honesty, your time is worth more than the couple $100s that you're gonna spend on somebody else doing your taxes for you. It is important to find a good tax person, because I have heard stories of people actually hiring somebody and they've gotten screwed over with their taxes, but that's unfortunate. And I have done my own taxes up until now, but last year I had some issues with my QuickBooks. So I'm working with a CPA now to try to get my books in order. And hopefully the IRS won't ding me for not paying quarterly taxes. Same with the state. It's like, as a business owner, you're always paying taxes. Oh my gosh. If it's not quarterly taxes, it's estimated taxes. And if it's not estimated taxes, it's sales and TPT taxes if you've got products. So again, another area in which I've learned and had the courage to take action and do. And a few years ago, I started my blog, which again took courage to do because I had no idea how to make a blog. I knew I like writing. I know that I like sharing my ideas and my thoughts and my stories and my experience. And so I just started writing. And I'll share a little secret. I don't edit. So if you find a mistake, please, please send me a message. I'll try to make a correction on it. If I don't, oh well, it is what it is. And then same for these podcast episodes. I don't I don't edit them. I probably should, but I don't. But that's kind of the beauty of having your own thing is you can do whatever it is that you want with it. And that's where the confidence comes in, is just be confident in being you. Be weird, be silly, be an artist. And I'll give you a little insight for those of you who are newer artists. We're all weird. We all have our weird little quirks that make us unique. So for me, it's my blue glasses. And at this last convention that I went to, International Lash Expo, I wore my blue glasses and I went to a class that was hosted by Lashbox LA. And I'm sure all of you know that this is like one of their primary colors, which it's also one of my primary colors for my brand. And the girl actually mentioned, she was like, "Oh, nice glasses." And I was like, thanks." I'm not stealing your colors, I promise. Oh, I kind of am, but I'm not. I have my own colors. I have my own color scheme. I love this color. It's all over my office. It's all over my person. I have a hair clip that's the same color. I have shoes that are the same color. Anyways, I digress. So getting back to confidence and courage, it took a lot of courage for me to start my own business because it's safe having somebody else give you your clients and have a consistent income. It's safe getting paid every other week, and it's safe just continuing to do what you're doing. But there's no excitement in that. And for those of you who know me personally, I am an adrenaline junkie. I am a scuba instructor. I love scuba diving. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I used to own a motorcycle. It was, for those of you into motorcycles, it was a Ninja 650. And I'm also very short, so I did have to have the bike lowered. And yes, I did drop it a few times. And yes, I did injure myself a few times. But again, you can't grow without a little pain. And I have, ever since I was young, always wanted to grow. Even in my height, I was like, I want to be tall. I want to be tall. It wasn't in the cards for me. I didn't even make it to 5 feet, but you know, it is what it is. I make up for it in the things that I love to do. I love jet skiing. I love I tried cliff jumping a couple years ago. I tried skydiving a couple years ago. Love both of those things. I tried so many different things that, like traveling, oh my gosh, that's a huge step. That takes a lot of courage. I went to Bali, Indonesia, for a month and a half, and I did go with my ex-boyfriend, and we were actually not boyfriend and girlfriend at that time. Him and I got back together and broke up and got back together so many times, but we were not officially together when we were on that trip. And so we spent a little time together, and then I went off and did my own thing for a few days, got back together for like a day or two, went off and did my own thing again for like a week, and just kind of did that on and off for the entire month and a half that I was there. But just the time of going off and doing my own thing again took so much courage. And I actually went to my nurse practitioner before we left and was like, I'm having so much anxiety. I need something for this flight to just chill me out. So she gave me some Xanax and an anti-anxiety medication, as well as an antidepressant. And they were so helpful. I no longer take them. It was used for a purpose. I am on a mood. I don't know if it's like a mood suppressor, but it basically helps with motivation. And I wouldn't say that I'm depressed, but I have gone through quite a few things in my life, traumatic things in my life, and I've had a rough time with having consistency from my external environment, whether it be partners or living situations or jobs or just not having a stable, consistent schedule. So it's been kind of rough. It's been a little tough, but it's taken again courage to continue to get up every day and remind myself of why I'm doing this. And it's for my eventual goal, for my my dreams. And so that gets me back to being a lash artist. It does take courage to be so close to your clients and have that connection with them because whether you like it or not, they're going to tell you their stuff. And it takes confidence and courage to sit there and provide space for them to be emotional or share their tea with you because it's coming, girlfriend. If you haven't gotten it, it's coming. You're going to create these great connections with your clients and they're going to open up to you. Whether you choose to open up or not is up to you. And again, that's a controversial topic, but how you run your business is going to be how you run your business. And I will say this too, as a service provider, whether you are your own boss and independent or working for a studio or a spa or whatever, you are still your own business. You are your own brand. How you present yourself is your brand. And if you show up to work and you're like, okay, let's just get through this day. What do you want? Okay, I'll do this. I'm done. How do you like them? Okay, I'll see you next time. A, you're not going to get good tips. B, you're not going to get return clients. And C, that's just miserable for you and your clients. Nobody wants to go into a service provider who's just like, ugh, you, ugh, I don't want to work with you. It makes you feel like crap. It makes the provider feel like crap too. As a provider, if you feel resentful of the people that you're working on, you're not in the right industry. You're not doing the right thing for your soul, and you're only doing more damage than good. So take this as you will, but if you're feeling resentment towards your clients, I think you should take a really hard look at why you're doing what you're doing and potentially looking at changing careers or at least doing a different service or reminding yourself of why you're doing what you're doing and shifting your mindset to get back to the mindset of gratitude and have that courage to change and get back to where you should be. Because there's nothing worse than a service provider who doesn't want to be a service provider. They do shitty work. Again, sorry for my language. They do shitty work and it's noticeable. It's really noticeable by other service providers and by the clients and then the people that they show the work that you've done on them too. So, take that into consideration. But in life, in my opinion, there's two types of people. There are doers and then there are thinkers. There's really no in between. There's no other people. Doers have a dream, they get shit done. Thinkers, they stew. They think about things and think about things and think about things and nothing gets done because A, they may not have a full 100% perfect picture of how they want it to look, or B, they don't know how to implement it. But if you keep thinking about it and thinking about it, nothing's going to get done So it takes the courage to actually take that step and do what's necessary for you to move forward, get towards your dreams. And that confidence will come. Once you've been doing it for so long, you'll feel a lot more confident in doing the things that you've been doing. And it definitely helps to have external validation. So I'll give you an example. So one of my mentors, I'm going to call her a mentor, but she's also a hero of mine. She is a brand owner. She is just a beautiful human being, inside and out. Everything she does and touches turns to gold, literally. And she just, every time I get to be around her, my cup is filled. My environment feels happier. It feels better. And I had approached her and said, "Hey, I would love to interview you for my podcast." And she said that that's so sweet, that she would love to, but right now she's just super busy and she doesn't want to commit to anything right now. And I said, "Okay, I understand. I know that you're busy." I mean, she just launched her product line. She's killing it, by the way. I've never seen a brand have that much success with their launch in the lash industry, at least, and her be able to continue to do the things that she's doing. I mean, it's incredible. Um, And she said that she's listened to all of my episodes so far, which just melted my heart because I I'm speechless. I'm speechless because the fact that she commits the time to listen to my episodes, even though I think I have at this point 2 listeners per podcast. One of them might be myself when I go back and re-listen to it. So even if it's just me and her, hey, I appreciate it. I love it. I love the validation, and I love that she tells me that it's so good, that she thinks that I'm doing great, and that she's proud that I've been consistent with continuing to do it. And it feels good. And having that environment of support and healthy relationships is so much more helpful to your success and your confidence, because there's nothing worse than going to somebody that you love and care about and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this." And they look like you're crazy and don't know why you're going to be doing it. But in all honesty, who cares? If they're not supportive of you, they're not your people. End of story. The people that you love should be 100% supportive of your dreams and your goals, regardless of insanity level. I feel like a lot of the things that I dream about doing might be on that level, but especially on my own. But, I'm still trying, I'm still chugging along. I'm asking questions, I'm asking for help in areas where I might be lacking. I'm doing the things that I can to try to grow in the areas that I struggle in. And I'm looking for external help where I can actually have somebody else step in and take over so I can free up my time and energy to do other things. A lot like the owner of that other spa that I worked at, but I feel like from my perspective, I've learned a lot of what not to do as an owner and as a employer or boss, because I've been through the negative side of horrible bosses. And for those of you who have seen that movie, yeah, I was never hit on by an employer, but I have been hit on by clients. So I've had to fire clients. And I mean, it's not good, but it is what it is. And again, that takes courage and confidence that, you're standing up for yourself and you're standing up for your beliefs and your boundaries because they are important, whether it be a client trying to schedule a fill at 1 in the morning or somebody trying to squeeze in last minute. You set your boundaries and stick to them, hold to them, because the second that you cave and give in, they're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and asking for more and more and more out of you. And you simply can't do it all. We can't do it all. And it takes the courage to say no, even when it's hard. And I respect people who say no to me when they might want to say yes, but it's okay. I'll be fine. I'll move on. I'll grow and get better and accept the rejection, which rejection can be hard for people who are on the spectrum, but we live and we learn, we grow, we learn to be okay with things not going the way that we want. And as a business owner, a lot of the times things don't go the way that we want, particularly in the finance area. But that's life. You gotta just keep moving forward, keep reminding yourself of your goals and your dreams, have that supportive community and environment that you can flourish in. And one of my favorite things that I've heard in the last few years is if a flower dies, you don't blame the flower, you blame the soil, you blame the environment. So you move it to a better soil, to a better environment, and then hooray, the flower starts to bloom and starts to grow and get stronger. And that's the exact same way with an artist. That's the exact same way with a business owner. That's the exact same thing with a human being. You are a human being. You have emotions. You're going to get down. And having a coach or a mentor or a friend, other lash artists, your clients, your spouse, having them know what's going on with you is so important. And it helps you to keep pushing forward. It helps you to continue to grow, and it will help you to gain that confidence that it's okay to be you in whatever format you come in, whether that be a hoodie and t-shirt, which it is what it is. I'll be honest. I showed up the other day in a hoodie and leggings. It is what it is, but your clients know and understand that you are human. I don't recommend doing that with brand new clients, especially high ticket clients, but you know, sometimes we just need that little safety zone, and it's okay. But I do also encourage you to grow and push past those safety zones, because we don't grow in comfort, we grow in discomfort. And one of my favorite people that I follow is Dean Graziosi. And some of the things that he says is get comfortable with uncomfortable, because as a business owner, you're going to be uncomfortable a lot. And if your goal is to be independent, you got to be comfortable with that. And if you need help, if you need encouragement, and if you need a guide or a supportive hand to hold, I'm right here. Reach out to me. I'm at Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. For those of you who are listening, I have also started video recording these episodes. So feel free to tune in on my YouTube page. It's Live, Love, and Lash. My Instagram is live.loveandlash, and Facebook is Live, Love, and Lash. I also have a Instagram page for the podcast itself. It's Live, Love, and Lash podcast. And I would appreciate if you like share, and hit that little bell to subscribe. And I hope you have a beautiful day. I want you to know that it's taken a lot of courage and a lot of confidence for me to get on here, share my thoughts, share my unscripted feelings and emotions with you. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can resonate with some of the vulnerability and help you to be more confident in doing the same, whether it be with a podcast, a blog, with your clients, with just opening up to your significant other about how you're feeling, what you're thinking. You know, this world is so stuck in not communicating, and I'm trying to change that. So have the confidence and the courage to speak your mind. Sometimes it's going to be messy, and if it, I often spew my messy first drafts to my ex, who's still my friend, and it doesn't usually go very well, but you know, he's still there. So he must still like me for something, I guess. Must be my beautiful smile and my cute blue glasses. And and my drive. Like I love continuing to push forward regardless of how tough things are. There's definitely days where I don't, and a nice day in bed feels so nice, but you know, when you've got dreams and goals, you got to keep pushing forward. All right. Well, I hope this has helped you in getting a little bit of courage to maybe take that next step in your career or in your relationship, and to have a little bit more confidence in yourself, in your skills. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Until next time, bye.